Are you looking for an easy way to stitch perfect piano keys every time? Stick around and we'll show you how to use the line grid ruler. Welcome to Handi Quilter Watch and Learn. I'm Kim Sandberg and
I'm Kristina Whitney.
And today we're going to show you this awesome line grid ruler. It's pretty cool how this works, isn't it?
It is. It's really fun. Okay, let's see how this ruler is going to work. First thing I want to point out is that I just drew this imaginary border, and I'm going to put some piano keys in the border using this ruler. So I've already brought up my bobbin thread, and I need to get to the inside of this ruler. So to do that, I've got a slot right here. I'm going to put that slot right over the needle and the foot and drop it into place. Now, if you're on a different machine with the foot oriented the other direction, you'll probably be coming in from the side. And if your needle happens to be in the down position, you can do the same thing because this is a hopping foot. So I'm going to lift up that foot and slide the ruler underneath. Okay, so two different ways to do that. Now I'm going to bump this ruler up against my foot and make sure that I'm keeping the lines on the ruler parallel to the line of my border. And I'm going to hold it in place and stitch down. Okay, once I'm there, I'm going to shift the ruler over so that the left side is now touching the ruler. And then I am going to just stitch across, and then I can stitch back up on the right hand side of the ruler. And you can do this the opposite way if you want to do stitching on the left. It's totally up to you. But that concept of stitch over, stitch down. Pause the machine, shift the ruler. Again, using those grid markings, making sure you're keeping it lined up. Stitch over, stitch up. Now you'll notice that I'm pausing the machine each time I'm shifting the ruler. That does take a lot of time. When you are a little bit more confident with rulers, you might even find that you're going to be just kind of pushing it over a little bit as you're still stitching. Okay, so another tip I'm going to show you, I'm just going to pull this up and get it out from underneath the foot, is sometimes as you're using the ruler, you want to use a specific marking. So you can take like a Sharpie or something to mark on there, or a lot of times I will just take some tape and put the tape on the actual ruler to mark the line so that I remember which line I'm looking at to keep things lined up. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at a real quilt using this ruler, and it's going to be a different technique. Instead of going up, over, down, over, up, over, down, over, you'll see that it's just a little different way to do it. So let's take a look at that. So if you can look up here, you can see I've done some piano keys, and I'm going to continue doing piano keys throughout the rest of this border. And they're 1/2 inch. So I am using the line grid ruler. And this is really nice because it measures the 1/2 inch for me, so I don't have to do very much math. And I have not yet stitched in the ditch along this line, so I'm going to do that at the same time. So first of all, I'm going to shift my ruler over, and I'm using my grid lines to make sure that they're staying lined up with my previous stitching or my piecing. And I'm going to stitch in the ditch along the top there, and then I'm going to come down and up along this side. And I'm trying to be really careful that I don't shift the ruler while I'm doing that so that I can stitch right over that same line. Now I'm going to shift the ruler again, lining it up, stitch in the ditch across the top, come down, and back up. So this is just one way that you can use this ruler. There's lots of different ways. But I just figured this would be a good way to get my stitch in the ditch done at the same time, and also not having to worry about trying to stitch over this curve, because stitching over curves is a little bit trickier. And this is a time where you could decide if you want to have handy grip on it, or if you want to have the handy grip off so you can move it smoothly. Personal choice. And if people are wondering about my settings, right now I have my machine set on cruise at a speed of 50, and I'm doing 12 stitches per inch. I am using a little bit heavier of a thread. It's a 40 weight because I want this part to show up, and then I'm going to come back with a lighter thread to do some more fill work. But that's how I use my line grid ruler. That was so fun. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other markings. You'll notice we've got all these crazy angles all over the place. So if I want to do, say, like a 45-degree angle, I'm going to find my 45-degree line, and I'm going to line it up with my seam, making sure it's going all the way across, and I'm going to hold that in place, and then I'm going to stitch up, and I'm going to stop at my top border, keeping that same marking. I'm going to just slide the ruler over, travel along my seam, and stitch back down. Okay, let's do that one more time, shifting it over and stitching up. Okay, so you could do that doing diagonal piano keys. You could also come back and do the diagonal going the opposite direction to create a fun crosshatch. And you can change up the angle for completely different looks. So here's the piano keys all the way across this quilt that we saw earlier.
That looks so great. What a fun way to really put a little pop in a border.
Yeah, and I don't have to think about the math. I don't have to look to line up the ruler every single time both directions. I just shift that ruler over and I've got my spacing.
No marking. I like that.
Yep, exactly. So that is the line grid ruler.
The line grid ruler. What a great ruler. If you're interested in picking one up for yourself, you can go to handiquilter.com or visit your local Handi Quilter retailer. Thanks for joining us today, and have fun quilting.